Hello, my name is Aida Salazar. I am the author of two books, Land of the Cranes, here we go, and The Moon Within. The metaphor of the crane comes from the Aztec myth Betita's father tells her. He says their people came from a place called Aztlan, which translates in English to Land of the Cranes. He said their people left Aztlan and traveled south and went to found their great city in the navel of the universe in Mexica Tenochtitlan, which is modern-day Mexico City. He tells her the reason why they left Mexico is because they are like birds who have come back home to live among the cranes. So she believes she's a bird. I use the crane as a metaphor for the freedom to migrate. I used it as a way to point to the outrageousness of caging humans and children, migrants who are seeking help, and especially ones as young as Betita. She believes she's a bird so deeply, she doesn't understand why she and her family are not able to fly free like cranes and all migrating animals. I was inspired to write Betita's story as a response to the criminalization and incarceration of migrants in the United States. There's a really long history of deportations and abuses against the migrant community, which is also my community. I was undocumented until I was 13 years old. And though I am now a US citizen, my experience and my ties to the wounds of my community make it so that I cannot look away. I wrote this story to inspire others to also not look away. I wrote both Land of the Cranes as well as my first novel, The Moon Within, in verse because I am a poet. Writing a story through a series of poems comes very naturally to me. Poetry gives us space and time for introspection, time to be inspired, especially when it is written like in these two books in a very close first-person perspective. So we gain access to their emotions that opens up the story in really, really rich ways. I wanted to be gentle with my readers. I wanted them to be able to spend time with a very difficult subject. And in the case of Land of the Cranes, I wanted them to go inside and think about the metaphors of the crane and caging. I wanted them to pause in the quietness and the figurative language that poetry offers. I chose for Betita to write picture poems because I wanted her to be a poet, but also because I wanted her to know what it is to have the power to change things for the better through her art and through her voice. Children have a very strong moral compass. They are often the first to point out injustice. My hope was to dive deep into the sensibility. I wanted to connect with them through Betita's sweet personality, through her language, through her confusion, through her belief in a better world for her family and for others. I allowed her story to guide me, and hopefully readers will respond to that honesty. Absolutely. You can create your own fundraiser or donate directly to these three organizations. One is called Al Otro Lado, which is based in Tijuana and Los Angeles. And the other is called Raíces Texas, which is based in Texas. And then the other is Kids in Need of Defense. And all of these organizations are doing the really hard legal work to support migrants, but also they're trying to connect families who have been separated at the border. So if you can spare any kind of money or donation, those are the organizations that need the help, and they also need supplies because they are connecting with migrants who are recently released or are waiting for their political asylum process, and they need supplies, humanitarian aid, different kinds of humanitarian aid. But also, if you can't do any of those things, then speak out, write a picture poem, dance, you know, create a play, anything that you can do to shine a light on this tragic, tragic experience that so many migrants are experiencing right now would be so beneficial. You can find Land of the Cranes and the Moon Within at www.hellocpi.com.